What do you picture when I say the word hero? Do you picture a tall and strong super soldier, flying through the air with his cape ruffling in the wind? Do you see cataclysmic battles with swords clashing or extreme powers shaking the earth? Perhaps you see sacrifice, a noble death in the hopes that others could live. Maybe you see an honorable person, standing strong in the midst of all trial and temptation, working toward a goal greater than themselves. In a subversion from those other descriptions, maybe you see a doctor or a therapist, even an author whose creations allow you to feel something you never had before. These virtuous images in our heads have become nearly synonymous with the word hero, and as such the many connotations that come with it. And if we were chosen to assemble a team of our heroes to complete a grand quest, we would look for our saviors among the grand, powerful, and noble. But what if they weren't? What if all of our heroes weren't characterized by virtue, but instead characterized by flaws? Are they still worthy to be called heroes? The first episode of Frieren Beyond Journey's End shows the heroes' party returning from the end of their grand adventure. The land which was once terrorized by a benevolent demon king has now been defeated by a group of 4, masters of their craft. Hyter the priest, Eisen the warrior, Frieren the mage, and Himmel the hero. We don't get to see much of them in comparison to their 10-year adventure, as not long after receiving their praise, Frieren leaves and doesn't return for 50 years. It's done on purpose to put a massive gap between her and the rest of the party, as Frieren's nature as an elf means she'll live far, far longer than any of them could ever imagine. The story of Frieren as a whole focuses on the themes of time and love, and more importantly, how relationships themselves make time valuable. But that isn't the focus of this video. Instead, we're looking at exactly what makes the hero's party work narratively, and how their short stints in the beginning of the series and through the flashbacks show off incredible characterization. Lots of times in fiction, the great heroes aren't really named by their weaknesses. Save for their origins, Batman and Superman aren't usually characters we're meant to relate to, but rather something to be admired. Those heroes uphold the ideas of justice and honor, defined by admirable qualities or traits. Likewise, while we might first think that the hero's party who defeated the Demon King is a group of smart and noble characters, Frieren Beyond Journey's End doesn't. In fact, it's one of the running gags in the show that's repeatedly put to the forefront that Hyter, the team's priest, is an alcoholic. The story has a way of showing you the subversion of the expectations slowly. The current timeline doesn't follow the hero's party, as that time has already come and gone. Instead, the focus is on Frieren in the present day, reliving the events of her 10-year adventure with her new group. It's through this new group that Frieren is able to retroactively appreciate and relive her last adventure with the others. Using flashbacks, Frieren is able to show us what it was really like to be a part of the heroes who defeated the Demon King. And it's not what you'd expect. The most obvious of this is Hyter, the group's priest. On top of being a drunk, he's also a manipulative liar, though his heart is never in the wrong place. In episode 2, he tricks Frieren into training Fern so that the little girl doesn't need to lose any more family. And throughout the beginning arcs, he lies about his greatest fear, the fear of dying. Despite surveying the goddess and being one of the few people who defeated the Demon King, he claims he only did it to receive the goddess's favor. Not exactly what we call noble motivations. But what about his good qualities? Well, Hyter was an orphan, and in various flashbacks he has scenes caring for orphanages, going out of his way to help other priests, and overall being a force for good in the world. He saves Fern from throwing away her life, taking in an orphan who he no doubt saw himself in. Hyter also serves as a character who Frieren is able to connect with, sharing talks about the future, death, faith, along with her life and hardships together. We later even find out that Hyter is the one who encouraged Himmel, the hero, to go save the world in the first place. And so which is the true Hyter? Well, the answer is obviously both of them. Hyter is a hero, but more importantly a human. Flawed in a dozen different ways, heroic in more. A good man, but a corrupted priest. But what of the other cast? They don't seem to have as gutting flaws the same way that Hyter does. However, it's not really about moral flaws. It's about a label of weakness that they bear that works contrary to who they are in the story. For Frieren, although she is honored among humans for helping contribute to the development of magic after the Demon King's death, in the higher society of mages, Frieren is looked down upon. Ciri, presumably the strongest mage in the story, views her student Flame and Flame's student Frieren as foolish mages who have the wrong idea of magic. The pinnacle of magic in the world of Frieren values ambition and strength, whereas Frieren herself values wonder and peace. Frieren believes the good of magic comes in seeking it. Ciri does not. Even further, Flame herself teaches Frieren how to suppress her mana, something noted by demons and others to be a disgrace. While Frieren's subversion isn't inherently a moral one like it is with Heiter, it is within her world a subversion. Because how Frieren treats magic, the way he values it, and how she goes about expressing it are deemed as dishonorable. And so to many, Frieren is a disgrace to all mages. But Eisen is the group's warrior. He's their strength on the front line, quiet, stoic, and powerful. He's near invulnerable to damage, teaches the value of tenacity to his student Stark, and serves as the spearhead against the Demon King. But the mighty warrior hides a great secret as well. That being, he's a coward. One of the greatest warriors in the series has a natural tendency toward fear and trembles at the sight of battle. However, it's that disposition that makes him even more brave, that he would still be willing to stand up and fight, regardless of how he feels or who he's up against. Eisen, just like Frieren and Heiter, has a label attached to him that works against his role as a warrior. But what about Himmel? He's the leader of the group and the only one with the actual word hero in his title. In every flashback, he's morally upright and honorable. He protects the innocent. His one visible weakness is maybe him being a little overly empathetic. Except, dare I say, Himmel bears the most brutal label of them all, more than the drunk, the disgrace, or the coward. Himmel is often shown with his sword. This is told to us in episode 12 to be the hero's sword, a relic lodged in stone that was meant to be drawn by the true hero who would save the world. While many throughout history tried, 80 years before the events of the story, Himmel was said to have drawn the weapon. He eventually went on to defeat the Demon King and save the world just as he was supposed to. Except, all of that is a lie. Later on in that episode, Frieren's group goes to where the sword had been, and, unlike we were expecting, the sword is still there. Frieren then tells the truth, that Himmel failed to pull the sword from the stone, and that he had been a fake hero. But Himmel fought against that notion. In his own words he said, "There's nothing wrong with being a fake hero. I'll defeat the Demon King and bring peace to the world, then it won't matter if I'm a fake or not." That quote is the essence of the hero's party. That who you are or the characteristics you have does not stop you from becoming more. Because that drunk priest did give his friends hope. That timid warrior did protect his allies. The lazy mage did bring about peace. And that fake hero did save the world. The weaknesses we have and the labels that are placed upon us are not all defining, but rather an opportunity to become the antithesis of that negativity. Because a warrior can only be brave in the wake of their fear, and a hero can only be proven if they are tested with hardship. And in the end, those weaknesses made them more brave and more real than anyone else who didn't struggle possibly could have been. A corrupted priest, a cowardly warrior, a disgraceful mage, and a fake hero. Those were the frauds that saved the world. Until next time, keep dreaming.